On the Age of Empires official website, they just made a post where they were recapping the year 2026, and they celebrated many of the different things that happened, some of which is Age of Empires 2, which is, I know, why you're here. Now, not to disrespect ageofempires.com, but I'm going to scroll past all of that wonderfully written things which recap the year, because the big thing here is there is a new Age of Empires 2 DLC on the horizon, and it is called the Viking Sagas. Now, there's been a lot of speculation across the community that this was coming. This is on the back of an AoE4 DLC, I think, that was themed in a similar era. But let's get into it. Let's read through it. Let's see what they show us. More Norse, of course, coming this fall with Age of Empires 2 Definitive Editions, the Viking Sagas. Raiders of the North isn't our only foray into Scandinavian stories this fall, as the next expansion for Age of Empires 2 DE is the Viking Sagas. The Viking Sagas brings 3 new civilizations: the Danes, the Saxons, and the Varangians. Use the Danes' unique Joms Viking unit to raid and hurl flaming torches. Wield the Saxons' Hearth Troop, a heavy infantryman which opens fights with a ranged javelin before closing in. Or send out the Varangians' Jarl to hurl axes and tear through enemy infantry. You can follow the life of Harald Hardrada in 3 new campaigns, from his cunning exploits across the Mediterranean, his brutal raids across the Danish coast, to his daring invasion of England in 1066. You will earn renown through the Skald's Tales and fight your way from Scandinavia to the, Kievan Rus and the Byzantine Empire, before staking everything on England's shores. In this new story, you'll encounter powerful antagonists, including the duplicitous Empress Zoe and dangerous King Sven Erdstrin and battle-tested King Errol Godwinson. The Viking Sagas will launch this fall, with pre-orders coming later this summer. If you'd like to learn more, head to your platform of choice and wishlist now. So yeah, basically they announced this whole thing. They also talk a little bit about Age of Empires 3, but they showed us some footage of this and gave us a few more details. By the way, leave a like on this if you're excited for this DLC, but also if you are ever so slightly impressed with my pronunciations there. It wasn't my best, it wasn't my worst. But yeah, they always create these really cool images that tease some of the new units. There's time for speculation on some of this later. And we'll read in a second about some of the potential changes to the land and the water. But very cool looking. New architecture, of course. Pretty damn cool, if you ask me. We got some bridges in action behind my face here, which you can't see because I'm in the way. Yeah, looks nice, looks nice, looks nice. Here's some of the new units they're talking about. Doesn't look like there's an actual battle happening here, but things look really, really tasty, really, really cool. And yeah, let's get into some of the units. Yeah, there's some of the new architecture as well. Really, really nice. All right, so there's some video footage here showing some of the units interacting with each other here. We're going to completely look past the fact that there's definitely a monk walking into battle with a relic there. This isn't supposed to be a real battle, guys. They're just showing off some of the cool stuff that we can play with in the fall. Anyways, 3 new civilizations, right? As they said, the Danes pressure opponents early with swift long ships, which indicates some changes to water, to strike without warning. The unique Danish unit, the Joms Viking, is ideal for these raids as a nimble and hard infantryman that hurls flaming torches to devastate the enemy buildings and ships. So it feels like an infantry unit that has a ranged unit. They're kind of getting into that now. They did so with other DLCs like Fire Lancers and things. The Saxons construct mighty fortified towns to lock down territory, stand firm against relentless invasions. The unique unit is the Hearth Troop, a heavy infantryman that opens fire with a ranged javelin before closing in for intense melee combat. So again, another infantry unit. It's got range, but it's melee. It's going to be attached to the Saxons. The Varangians, fearlessly master the waterways, ride down your foes, and leverage mercenary-style flexibility. The Jarl, the Vengarian unique unit, is a fearsome axe-hurling cavalryman whose attack tears through enemy infantry. So maybe kind of similar to a throwing axeman for the Franks, probably with a little bit of a Viking spin on it, I'm sure. But here's the specifics. So the Vengarian guards, deadly shock infantry who generates gold while fighting and excel at raiding and melee combat. So you're going to get some gold while fighting with this unit, which is in 1 or 2 units and civs already for AoE. A mounted crossbowman is a hard-hitting but slow-firing ranged cavalry who strike fear into infantry armies. Curious what that's going to look like. There's obviously the cavalry archer. This is a mounted crossbowman. Maybe it's a little bit slower. Maybe it's kind of like an elephant archer. We'll see. Long ships are swift warships that combine potency and versatility. You can see them here, briefly anyways, as you can see some of the other units. And yeah, there's the mounted crossbowman there. Looks pretty cool. I wonder if a long ship is just like the new long boats. Like, that kind of makes sense to me. And maybe if they're splitting up the Vikings, that only one civilization is going to get the long ships. Still a lot to find out here, of course. But I'll read a little bit more. They didn't give us too much just yet. Experience the epic saga of Harald Hardrada across 3 interconnected campaigns. Actually, we read that. But here's the name of the campaigns. The Exiled Prince. Cast out from Norway, Harald must seek wealth and prestige in foreign lands, but his fierce ambition to reclaim his crown is tested under the shadow of increasingly despotic Empress Zoe. The hard ruler, with immense wealth at his command. I'll try and be epic. Harald wages a bitter war for the thrones of Denmark and Norway, even if it demands a hard-handed rule. But in his pursuit of control, he risks losing the loyalty of his people and becoming the very tyrant he fights to overcome. Very well written. And then the last Viking. As omens set the heavens ablaze, Harald fixes his gaze towards England's throne. Can he forge the empire of his dreams, or will his ambition falter before he rises to become the greatest Viking of them all? Yeah, really cool. I mean, I've said this before. I really enjoy history. I don't remember as much as many of the viewers out there. Harald is like a character I'm very familiar with. Some of his conquering voyages. I completely butchered the pronunciations there. But anyways, I'm familiar with like this specifically. Really, really cool. And it might be fun for anyone who enjoys the campaigns. That's basically it. This is the first look. There's going to be more teases and stuff. And I will hopefully get early access to make videos and everything for you all. As always, with some of the more recent DLCs, hesitantly optimistic. There's so many civs in the game. There's so many new things they're adding. And so there is a little bit of worry. Are these things going to be too strong? Are these things going to fit the base of Age of Empires 2? And, I will say that it does seem like there's similarities to things that already exist in the game. We just got to find out eventually, like, what the balance is like. What's the cost like? What's the production like? How do these units interact? I'm sure there's going to be bugs along the way. I'm sure there's going to be some thrills and some spills, but hopefully it's a good DLC. And we're lucky to still be getting content for the game. So, looking forward to your comments. I will read all around the community to see what people think about this. Usually, I can't take credit for half the things I end up saying in follow-up videos because I'm reading some of the thoughts and observations of the whole community. So, yeah, I'm sure I missed some things here. If I did, feel free to let me know. But, yeah, really cool that we have more content coming for Age of Empires 2. And hopefully the tail end of 2026 will be amazing, leading up towards 2027. I'll work hard. I'll try and get early access from the devs and record some cool videos, experiment with these units, and keep Age of Empires 2 going strong. So thank you guys very much. Shout out to all the devs and everyone who put a lot of work and energy into this. And apologies if I misread or my epic reading of the campaigns was possibly came off a little too sarcastic. I was just trying to sound epic. Hopefully it did that. We'll look forward to seeing what you guys have to say, and I'll catch you all soon.